Hey guys, what's going on, man? Look, check this out. You know it's me. You know who I am. I know who you are. Let's just get to the bottom line. I'm gonna say it like this, man. You know, you see me all the time, right? I come kicking some kind of knowledge or something like that. I put it down as I always do. But let me. Can I be myself for a minute, family? Can I be myself for a minute? Let me let me share something with y'all. I'm a black man living in America, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. All right, but tell me this though. Every time black men try to find a way to make something happen, somebody always want to lock them down, or make our people want to, do what they're told, or try to feel controlled, or like little things like that. But here's the bottom line. They're always trying to make us feel like we are oppressed, or we don't know which way to go, or how to get things done. But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. America ideas came from natural descent, which means is in the beginning of American history, America used us minorities as a way for them to build their empires. Now, I could be wrong, but if you look at the time frame that America has started its time in history, American history showed minority, international people have been the ones to help this country grow into what it is. Now, you can correct me. If you have a comment about that, correct me. Send me a video correcting me about the facts of information. Now, let's think about this. There's this lockdown that's going on. Now, everybody's saying this lockdown, is something special, right? Okay. We all know what this virus entails, right? We all know what it's about. It's in your system. It gets inside your system, and it affects you. Now, you say it like this. People always say that, randomly, we don't know how this virus got started. So, as a black man, my job is priority number one is to look out for my family's safety and the safety of my offspring, which is the child that I have. Now, they saying that we're supposed to look out for other people as well. Okay, I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But here's the way I look at things. I pray that everyone makes it home safely. You see the word I use? I pray. I pray. Pray. Praying is very important. It's a powerful spiritual tool. Now, some of you may say, oh, you may disagree with that. But this is just me telling you. As a matter of fact, this is me letting you know how it is in America. America only sees white and black. That's it. It's a diverse nation, but it only sees white and black. It don't see other colors that are visual in front of our eyes. We only see certain diversities getting getting the opportunity. But when it comes to the black man, like myself, one and other black men like me, want an opportunity, they don't think we're qualified enough. Well, let me tell you this. Look at this nation now. Look how controversial the nation is now. If you look at how America is today, how it was back then in history, America was always a diverse nation. That means one culture, one nation under God. indivisible, liberty and justice for all. That means justice was served for each and every culture that came across the Atlantic Ocean. Now you saying to yourself, you have a ship, right? There were ships that came over to this ocean, Atlantic Ocean. Ships came over here. The Puritans came, the Micans came, the Africans came, the Balkans came, the Europeans came. Think about it. The Magna Carta started in 1713. Now, if you look at 1713, who else started around that time in the 1800s? You got George Washington. You had George Washington come over, said he found land. They say he discovered it. But in my opinion, the real person that discovered the Continental Congress, that was the founder himself. There was another man named George Washington, but it wasn't George Washington the president. It was George Washington Carver. Now, if you look at what American history has entailed us, American history entails us that George Washington name itself was necessarily a Creole kind of name. Now, some of you are blown by it. You're like, whoa, 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 hold it. This is American president. This is George Washington you talk. Think about it. Washington Carver. Carver, Washington. Any relation? I think not. But think about it. Washington. D.C., Washington. Washington, D.C. started with the name Washington. Now, if you look at Washington now of today, the National Monument, the monuments that are there have Abraham Lincoln inside the Continental Congress. Now, some of you are blown away, but if you look at Abe Lincoln, you really take a good look at Abe Lincoln. You look at him closely. Abe Lincoln was a black man, but his skin was lighter than his complexion. Maybe his skin was blemished when he was born. Who knows? If you look at the past presidents of this country and why they were the way they were, freeing slaves, they were Creole or they were blemish, white, 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 Mexican, American, Caucasian men. Think about it. Look at the last name Washington. Where did it come from? How did he get Washington? Nothing. We know his human parents gave it to him, but how did he get Washington? Where did Washington come from? Washington. It came from a state. Did it come from a country? Did it come from an animal? Did it come from insect? Only thing we know is that there's a city by the name of Washington. Now, it's a big city. Now, we saying nation upon nation. Now, if you look at every nation that is right now, then you look at us as black Creole. We're Creole. If you look at our skin tone, each and every person that you come across, look at our skin tones, match them. See why one's lighter than the other. The reason why it is because the first man, actual man, was Creole. See, they say he was a Neanderthal, but no. He was Creole. He was a Creole colored man. Now, to me, Creole is a nationality known for light, brown, white skin, American people. I'm like, wow, think about it. See, when you speak, a lot of people's language can tell that it's, American. But you can tell different languages just by looking at a person's expression, the way they walk, talk, and how they present themselves. The black man was labeled that because he didn't know he was Creole. Now, you saying right now, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. No, it sounds perfectly fair to me. Because if you look at the black men now and our struggle, we're always going through some type of sacrifice. The sacrifice is real, you guys. Even at where we're working, we have to sacrifice and work twice as harder than the next man, or the next man that's available, or the next race that's available. We gotta work twice as hard, and they don't understand why we have to work that hard. They think they do understand our culture, but they don't. They have no clue how real our struggle has always been. They say they migrate from, their minority. They migrate from the, central part of America. But let me tell you something. Puritans, came from the central part of America. Pilgrims came from the central part of America. It doesn't mean that they own the land. The land was already claimed. They came over because they wanted on ships because they wanted to steal or own someone else's land. This is what I'm saying. America is supposed to be home of the brave and liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, if you look at life and liberty, the life over here is a battlefield. This is a battle we're dealing with, you guys. The black man, we struggle because they think that our education doesn't matter anymore. That we just have to work and they just need bodies to work for them. But our struggle as black men, our journey is much greater than the nation that is right now. If you look at our story, how black men existed, and how history shows how we struggled, sacrificed, and provided and protected the land, then you will understand why this reminds me of the garden. This is like a garden. Garden means that you grow crops and you migrate those crops for across the land to spread out equally amongst the land that is subdued by the earth itself. And you say, wow, you're sitting here telling me that this land of ours was given to by people that were Creole? Yeah. Creole and other nationalities that were across the Atlantic Ocean. See, George Washington claimed the land because he was a Puritan. He already claimed the land because he stole the land from the Creoles that were already in the land. Now, if you look at other presidents like John Quincy Adams and all those other presidents, so-called, people, American heroes of the land. Okay, that's fine. I get it. History shows that they were in the land in America, migrating, whatever. But they came across from Europe, the Europe nation, to steal America away from the Creole, the Creotans, the Spaniards, the Spanish people. See, we were already diverse. We were already born on this land. But if you look at it, here come the Persian kings coming across the land. George Washington was a Persian king to me. That's what I think. He was a Puritan, but a Persian king. The reason why I say that is because look at his skin tone. He wasn't, pure white man, but he was a Puritan, which means he had a European dialect and a European skin, which means he was blemished, mostly half white and half, I don't know what the other color was inside of him, but this man came from across the Atlantic Ocean. Made documents stating that this land belonged to the Puritans. Now, let me say this, man. The reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because you guys got to think about the history of this country, where we stand at, how we get to this point in our history. Okay, well, we're Americans. We're Americans. Okay, fine. I admit that we are American because we live here. But living here and making contributions and sacrifices here is totally two different things. Now, we continue to sacrifice for this nation, and the credit always goes to the presidents of this country. That's why the black man has, the Puritans are the ones that own America. Because you know why? Because they don't want us, people of color, to be in charge. Because if we do rally together, you know the damage, the takeover that would happen if that happened. But see, the black man will have better opportunity, because we don't have the opportunity for that. Because to see who's in charge of the White House and where it's going, we don't have no say so, because we have to do what we're told by other nationalities, which is, I think, in my opinion, is kind of biased and discriminatory. They discriminate because they know let me say, this nation is known for taking over other cultures and that are diverse of different color. I say to myself that, why are you taking over something that was never owned by you? And the reason why I'm talking about this, long story short, look at what's happening now in America. America separated. Why? Because this virus came from China. Apparently, it came from some type of animal, an animal that everybody already is aware of. Now, it's like a double-edged sword. You know, you got two sides to the story. One side of the story says this is a true virus. The other side of the story says it's not real. Now, that is a double-edged sword. But you gotta remember the way this story got started, the way this impacted the nation, the way that the president has been announcing that, oh, this existed because of this was in China and it started in Shanghai. Now, you may tell me Shanghai is known for viruses. No, China is known for earthquakes. China is known for earthquakes, not known for viruses. So this virus appeared suddenly over here in America because the borders was not protected by our, people of in the higher up, which is the people, whoever the presidency that was in charge of the nation. Now, you got to remember, there's never going to be a time where the country is going to sacrifice itself for its people, like real sacrifice. Look at all the people that were president so far, from 2007 to 2020. We had different presidents, at least 8 different ones, but the best one of all was Obama. You know why I say that? Let me give you my version of it. Look at how Obama presented himself each and every UN address. It was presidential. A person that's presidential looks and feels like he is the nation. He takes charge of his company that is around him, his surroundings. He was a black man. Obama was a black man who had so much authority around him. He was the light of this nation. He had an uprising because people right now he still have following on either Facebook or around him. He takes charge of things that only we can relate to, like I'm doing now on my segments that I talk to you about. I'm taking charge. That's what a black man is all about. Taking initiative, take charge. They don't think we can operate like the way they do. That's why they want to stay in charge. But the only thing is they lack the understanding of how things are supposed to be simplified. If you make things simple, keep things simple, everything else will become simple, and you will have an easier, simple mind to do the things you always was capable of doing. Your ability, your actions, and your words will change, and it will persuade people to see past those qualifications, past those dynamics, and past all the things that you're not educated to do. It doesn't take an education to know that you have good enough judgment to make good decisions about the job that you're on. It's just basic common sense. If you know how to do the job and do it correctly, you don't need an education to do numbers or to increase the numbers to make the numbers better than what they are. People go to school because they want to get a degree showing on a piece of paper that, oh, I have an education, I have a degree. When are you going to get one? That's not the way. That's like secondhand knowledge. You don't give people that type of stereotype saying that, oh, I'm the best because I went to school and you didn't. So you gotta do what I tell you to do. That's like pointing a finger and talking down at people. That's lack of communication. That's something people don't have is communication skills. They have the degree, but they don't have the skills or the qualities to have to talk to people. And that is a shame. You went to school and don't have those communication skills like you should. Let me tell you something. Communicating is a two-way thing. It's two ways. One talk, the other receive. The other receive, the other talk. It's like you're on a telephone. When you remember the old telephone, I don't know if some of you remember this. Some of you probably do. But there was a telephone cord connected to a cup. You put it in the hole in the middle, you connect it to the other cup, and then you talk. That's how people used to communicate. Now radio took over. Everybody's communicating on the radio. Social media is there. Everybody's on social media. You gotta justify what it is specifically you want to communicate to the next person. Because if you could communicate effectively, everybody benefits. If you're looking at this as a one-sided, or I am in control because I'm educated and you're not, I can take care of this big problem. You have a problem with yourself. You have a problem how to deal with your emotions. You are psychosomatic. You come out thinking that, oh, I can say this and this person will follow. No, that's not how communication works, guys. Communication works by actually hearing what the next person is telling you, or listening to what the next person is telling you, or understanding what the next person is telling you, or believing and having faith in what the next person is telling you. See, some people are not capable of doing that. So they have to look presentable and not corrupted, because they have to play that part out there in the world. You don't have to play that part. Don't be fake. Be a real, honest person. If you're going to talk to people, make sure you understand who people are. That's why they don't want the black man or any other man or any other culture to be in charge, because we know how to communicate effectively without even having to go to school for it. That's a skill that is acquired. Some people are born with, some people are not. But you learn how to communicate through other people about what the job entails. A lot of people say, oh, I know how to communicate. Some people just don't have that skill. I'm sorry. You have the degree, but you just don't have the skill to communicate. You got to go back to school for that to get a degree in communications. You can have a degree in communication. That could be benefiting you, and you can probably run your own station or company or organization because you have the degree to prove that you're able to run something. A lot of people get an opportunity for leadership and don't know what a leader is or what it looks like. They lead, but they also follow. You can't do that's equal and opposite. That's a double-edged sword, which means you playing both fields, both sides. You say, "Oh, I'm gonna do it this way," then you go this way. You go left, then you gonna go right. You only got one hand. Which way you gonna go? Right or left? You gotta remember, it takes time to develop an understanding about life and live in the pursuit of happiness. It takes time to understand how people can benefit through, interaction, engaging, having activity. You got to engage with people. Because if you don't engage, then the next person will be like, okay, maybe that person doesn't have an idea of how to talk to me. So what I'll do, I'll start up a conversation with just a few words and see where it takes me. And see where they take me. That's what I mean about the black man. We have that type of communication skill. We were born with it. Some people may be born with communication skills. Some people, it takes a little longer to communicate because you don't know how people feel about you unless you talk to them. And I learned this. Communication is not about just being in school. The way you actually communicate is you have to look, listen, and understand what the next person's saying. You have to really have a great understanding. Okay? So remember, y'all, life is beautiful once you live it the right way. All right? Walk on the right path. As always, my name is Rashid Martin, and this is The Quiet Storm. You guys have a blessed night. Good night.